Hey everyone, James Reeves, TFB TV here at Austria Arms with my buddy Martin. You guys have seen him on the channel. You've also seen him. He's an international celebrity with the Austria Arms YouTube channel. Their channel, far superior to the shit that we put out in TFB TV, but fortunately for us, they do it in the German language. Here at Austria Arms, we're looking at some stuff to bring to the range today. Martin says, hey James, have you ever shot the Steyr
STM-556.
I'm like, I don't even know what the hell it is. And then I start looking at it and it's like, okay, this looks a little like an LMT MRP. And then the more I looked at it, the more I realized how unusual this gun is. This is a one of, they only made 300 of these.
300 for the commercial market.
And it's extremely unusual. And you're going to have to walk me through everything because I'd never even heard of this gun prior to today, Martin. But I know Steyr's right down the street. You know all the people there. Tell me about this. What is it?
Well, this is actually a Steyr AUG, which always wanted to be an AR-15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a transition to an AR-15,
yeah, exactly,
basically.
Yeah.
It's still got some Steyr AUG pieces. Like, let's start with one of the weirder things. It's got the quick change barrel like the AUG with the same lugs and this lever that you see here with my bandaged crippled leper thumb. Why?
They wanted to make, or this gun is actually the one and only or first AR-15 made by Steyr. And of course they wanted to make something different than everyone else. And then they thought, hey, let's take a few of the features of the AUG, which are cool and awesome, and put it into an AR-15.
Mm-hmm.
And having an AR-15 with a barrel change mechanism like the AUG is actually very neat and unique. And the idea was to give the operator the ability to change barrel lengths and also in terms of caliber maybe switching to another caliber like a driven blackout. And with this mechanism it's similar like the AUG, super fast and easy, and gives the user more options.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those things where it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. It makes total sense when you look at the AUG because the AUG doesn't work the way an AR works. And what I mean by that is if I want a 300 blackout AR-15, I just buy a 300 blackout upper. Like, you know, again, would it be nice to buy just the barrel? Sure, but at the same time, I'm not sure that it's worth having a proprietary system where I've now got to go with these proprietary barrels. It's going to be heavier, probably. It's going to be have this unorthodox system of look, if this were the way the AR-15 were designed 60 years ago, then like maybe I might be a little more enticed. But to me, it seems like taking a concept that worked from another rifle and forcing it onto this one. So change the barrels, that's cool. But when you look at the ecosystem itself, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me personally.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, Steyr is used to do that for the AUG series, and obviously the AUG is also intended as a military service rifle. And the same thing they also wanted to make with an AR-15, that they have some kind of towards military clients which have one gun which they adopt and then getting some spare parts and stuff like that for the supply chain. It's like just a barrel instead of a whole upper. So from that perspective, it was intended for that purpose. And Steyr also teamed up with Rheinmetall and they called it the rarest 556 for the German Bundeswehr tender for the replacement of the G36. This rifle was also in the trials of that selection, but it did not surpass that.
Sure. Yeah, and it's also kind of an unusual, it's like the LMT MRP or like the Colt, basically the Colt that borrowed from the patent for the LMT MRP where you've got this monolithic upper, which is nice, but then it kind of has this unusual, you've got the Picatinny rail, right, along the top at the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and then kind of like,
Proprietary.
Yeah, proprietary bullshit.
That gun is also not that current when it comes to development. That gun was introduced the first time, I think it was 2010, 11, when the public first saw it, and then it was not available on the market at all. And just recently, 2020, they released it to the commercial side. So at that time, back in the days, there was no M-Lock, there was no key mod, or not that much of these systems available, and Steyr thought, let's make our own system. And the cool thing is that with these holes, I would call it, you have QD attachment points as an option, but you can also screw in with that distance. You have 2 threaded holes here and here as well. You can screw in the Picatinny rails of the Steyr AUG side receiver rail, which is like at a 45 degree. It fits here as well.
I mean, that's not like totally dumb. I mean, everyone is kind of doing M-LOK, but I also understand at the same time in Europe, a lot of countries are still doing key mod, and a lot of units are still doing key mod. So in the grand scheme of things, not terrible. Now, if you look at the barrel, it's got an adjustable gas system that looks very similar to the AUGs as well.
It's a piston operated rifle where you have the ability to adjust the gas plug as well. Here, even with a shell of ammunition of 556, you can go in and adjust the gas plug to your settings which you need. Then it also has a Picatinny rail on the gas plug, which in
Gets hot as hell, I'm sure.
my opinion isn't that great, because every backup iron sight would probably melt away, but whatever, they just added it here. Barrel length in that rifle is 16 inches only. So when they released it to the commercial market, they only gave away the 16-inch versions. In the prototype phase of the gun for the military applications, they were for sure different barrel lengths, but you can only get them in 16-inch if you have them commercially. So the whole barrel change feature doesn't make sense at that point, but as I said, this gun was more aimed for a more military-driven client.
It's got ambi controls, but they're a bit unusual.
They are, absolutely.
It's almost like a old school shotgun bolt release for the magazine release on the right-hand side, and it makes no sense. You were explaining to me on the range, like that's one of the weakest points of this rifle.
Yeah.
Why?
I
I mean, not only does it kind of suck ergonomically,
the mag release is in that configuration, the only configuration, so it's not a mil spec or AR spec bolt release where you have this more squared button. It's a very tiny rounded button, which is hard to press, especially if the bolt is closed. But also a few of these STM rifles had the issue with the magazine catch, which was not 100% at that point where it should be. So meaning that on a few of the STM lowers, the magazines was a bit deeper, and they caused issues when it comes to feeding. So in case this rifle is jamming, it's probably because of the magazine, because someone is resting on the magazine or whatever.
Interesting. Worst thing about this gun, this is the shittiest magazine release I've ever used in my entire life. Like, it's little, and you have to be precise and apply a lot of pressure. Look at that. I was pressing it, and you guys saw it wasn't coming out. On the other hand, I mean, were it me and I were training off this, like, here is not so bad. Actually, like, that magazine release right there, like, if you just, I guess you can go thumb up, grip it and rip it, and you're fine. But this is, look, I'm pressing it. You gotta, it's easy to shoot, but woof, that magazine release, Jesus. I see it's got an ambi bolt catch, which actually was pretty nice.
Yeah, it's very large. It's oversized, so you have it like an LMT rifle or any other kind of ambi AR rifle, where you can release the bolt forward. You can also hold it, and you have the same thing on the other side. You have
that magazine release is great. We were talking about it on the range. It's like you may as well just do that, with your support hand and strip the magazine out that way. And then I see it's got like some interchangeable hardened components, which is like a next generation rifle thing. We see that on like the SIG MCX, for example.
On the Brand 3.
Right. Like on the Brand 3, where it's like I can see right now there's an insert, for the bolt catch, because that's, for the charging handle hook, because that's like a wear area.
Yeah, you can see it. The bolt carrier is under spring tension, similar like the AUG. And the fun fact is that the bolt head of this gun is also compatible with the Steyr AUG bolt.
Interesting. I'm really glad this is compatible with Steyr AUG bolts instead of those really hard to find AR-15 bolts. Again, it makes a whole lot of sense.
A lot of sense, yeah. And you see many design elements of the Steyr AUG, also like this piece of metal here, which is also in a way similar like the AUG bolts, but the carrier itself is different than any.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it. It's totally different.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have two kind of guide milled out rails, I would call it, and you have reinforced steel bolt guide, which is also
you can interchange that as well. Yeah,
you can replace that because a steel bolt on a steel rail is also a bit more long living than steel, a bolt carrier, and an aluminum housing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes it also heavy on the other side, so it's you know. You have to,
and again, like I feel bad for just like dunking on Steyr here because I not only love the company and the guns but I love the people. But this to me, I'm just seeing as a huge miss. Like I was, the pistol grip, I think I'm fine with it, but I think this will evoke a lot of emotions. This is Steyr's
pistol grip.
Yeah, and it's different. Like you have a trap door, which is cool, and I believe it's got interchangeable back straps on it,
and
right?
side straps as well.
Yeah. So you can interchange all this, but then I know a lot of people are going to see it and they're just not going to like it because it's far too unconventional in appearance, and it feels unusual whenever you shoot it. The stock looks like shit, but it's actually not bad. Like
there's also a story about that stuff.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's reinforced, so it's very durable, especially when you take this for a certain NATO test, which also include
drop testing.
And this stock will withstand that drops from higher heights on concrete. But these holes here also had a certain reason. I only heard that from people who told me that. And
what's the hearsay rumor?
The rumor about these holes is that you were able to attach IFAK or a medic kit to that stock. These holes.
Yeah. Again, kind of unusual, but this is not a terrible stock. I mean, I kind of like, right here you've got a little. Kind of like a bench rider, almost like a perch.
You can.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. Again, the stock looks like shit, but it is quite functional. You've got a whole ton of QD points
like
here.
Here as well. So.
Yeah, and it locks in. I mean, whenever you adjust it, and it is in there. It's not a lot of movement. What do you think these little screw holes are for?
Well, that's a good question.
I have
Maybe
no clue.
for cheek-rise or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just a very unusual design. Now, we shot it at the range today. Of course, it shot flawlessly. We didn't have really any issues with it. I can kind of see why they only made 300 of these for the commercial market. I could have told you the first time I saw it that this was not going to be a success, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's also quite expensive. And I think the cost of that project, they were way too expensive for anyone. And
how much were they?
Quite a lot.
Like, do you know?
The project costs, for sure, beyond a million.
Yeah.
And because of the lack of units adapting that rifle, or actually nobody adapted, it had to be, turned down. The project.
Sure. That's terrible. I mean, again, I love Steyr. I hope all the good things in the world happen to Steyr, but holy shit, this is an abomination, Martin. Abomination at Austria Arms. Now let's get that scale down. And can we take the optic off? Is that QD or do you gotta?
I'll take it.
Yeah, take it off and let's find out how much this son of a bitch weighs. I want to say let's compare apples to apples because we've got a similar design here. This is the LMT MRP, very similar to the Steyr. Unfortunately, this is like a 14-inch barrel versus a 16-inch barrel. However, what you'll see here, Martin, this says, I'm actually surprised it's this light. It won't stop moving. You're looking at 7 pounds, 2 ounces. I'm actually really surprised that a piston-operated gun like the LMT MRP is that light versus the Steyr, which is 8 pounds, 6 ounces. So even though this one's got a barrel that's 2 inches shorter, God, it is substantially lighter than this gun. So, love Steyr, love those guys to death. Unfortunately, pretty unimpressed with this gun. I can see why they don't make it.
Yeah, it's the concept was interesting. The attempt was there to make something like the AUG, maybe also for end user who already has an AUG and maybe want to adopt to a different system like an AR system.
I don't get it. Yeah, nobody would. I mean, the barrels probably cost as much as any AR upper. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's unfortunate. But Martin, I'm fortunate personally to be here at Austria Arms with you, my good friend. Always good to see you.
Well, a pleasure to have
Guys,
you.
it's always good to see you. Thanks for coming by TFB TV. If you're here in Austria, make sure you stop by Austria Arms. I promise you, it's like a pilgrimage to Mecca for gun people. So, and it's also right behind one of the best gun companies in the world. Glock is just a few hundred yards away. So, thanks again for watching. Take care.